on and instructs Spencer Oliver to the studio on the 17th floor of the News Building, right beside the Shard at London Bridge. Looking very impish, quite pleased with yourself for some reason. What have you been up to?
Listen, Jim, you know, some of those days you just get up at the right side of the bed. I'm a solid 9.5 out of 10. Always room for a little improvement, but I'm pretty good.
How good
Unlike
is
our
that?
good friend Simon, you're not looking so happy over there, my friend.
I'm fine. There's always a sort of shade of disappointment when I see you wandering through the door.
So, of course, all eyes on Riyadh in Saudi Arabia tomorrow. You're here with us, like many of us. Many will be watching from distance. There'll be the watch along, of course, for you, Spence. And many people will tune into that, of course, on YouTube. Joshua goes in to face Francis Ngannou. I mean, where are we at with it, Spencer? 3 months on from Fury and Ngannou, does tomorrow still represent a bit of a boxing circus, or have we moved on to something now that's become somewhat more legitimate?
Myself and Simon were talking about this on our show, actually, on Tuesday, that, you know, Ngannou proved that he come out of that fight with credibility. You know, forget that he's not been in a boxing ring before, and yes, he is a novice and he comes from a different discipline. What we learned from Francis Ngannou is that he can handle himself and look after himself and compete at that level in a boxing ring. And so I think it's a good fight. It's a dangerous fight for Anthony Joshua with what's on the horizon, you know, with what he's got if he comes through this fight, potentially the winner of Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. That's what they're trying to set up. You know, with all that in mind and the pressure that comes with Anthony Joshua and the pressure of him having to win as well, it's a dangerous fight for him. It really is. It's one of those ones where you go, Ngannou's got a shot. He's got a real chance, and he proved that when he boxed Tyson Fury. You know, the guy is a very dangerous guy. You can't. There's been a lot of talk as well about Tyson Fury and, you know, maybe the lack of discipline that he put into the fight and the lack of training that, you know, he done before the fight, etc. The facts are the facts. He had the WBC champ down on the seat of his pants in the third round, and you've got to respect that. The guy comes from power.
Here's the thing. If he couldn't beat an unprepared Tyson Fury, as you deemed him to have been, how's he going to be a totally prepared
No, Jim.
AJ?
I'm not saying that he was unprepared. I said there was rumours saying that he may not have prepared the way he should have prepared. The words that come out of Tyson Fury's mouth was, I prepared well. I got myself in great shape, and Francis Ngannou put up a good battle. And I think it was the unknown going into that fight. So now people are saying that Anthony Joshua now knows what he's going into, so that fear factor is there, and he will perform better. And there is a case for that. But you also look on the flip side with Francis Ngannou, and you say, well, Ngannou now knows how to compete in a boxing ring, so he will compete better this time than he did the first time.
Are you still a non-convert, Simon? Or will you be watching?
No, I mean, listen, the bottom line is no doubt that Francis Ngannou came out of the first fight with some credibility. Who came out of the first fight with no credibility was Tyson Fury. And if Anthony Joshua doesn't do a job on Francis Ngannou, then his credibility would be damaged. The idea that this is a significant event is clear because the Saudis have put on an event that's attracting the world's audience, and it will have all the reflective resonance that gives. For me, it tells you about, if you can put a MMA fighter, we all know he can fight, right? And we all know he can take a punch, and we all know he's a physical specimen, but we're talking about different disciplines. An MMA fighter that hasn't only just not fought in the boxing ring, hasn't fought for 18 months and had a knee rebuild in that period of time, into a ring with supposedly a generational great in Tyson Fury, and make Tyson Fury look like what he made him look. And Tyson Fury is quite happy to own the fact he was in best condition. It makes it even more laughable that the reality of how good are these guys at the top of the heavyweight chain. If an MMA fighter can come in and do that. Now, I expect Anthony Joshua to go and deal with Francis Ngannou. Now, that doesn't mean knock him out. It means school him. And if he gets an opportunity to knock him out, then knock him out. But I expect an elite heavyweight fighter to beat an MMA fighter stepping into his second only boxing fight.
Listen, Simon, one thing I have taken from Anthony Joshua and this week where he's been out in Saudi Arabia is, if you look at him, his mannerisms, the way he's conducting himself, the way he's holding himself, entertaining the media, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. Anthony Joshua is in a really good place at the moment. This is his full fight in 11 months. You know, the Otto Wallin fight has installed a lot more confidence in him as well. And I think that makes him... I think he's going to go in and put a show on out there. I think that he'll go out there and demonstrate that he is one of the best heavyweights currently.
I mean, we will find out how happy Anthony Joshua is when he gets ones on the whiskers.
Well, he will certainly get that, by the way.
Yeah.
He will certainly get that.
Helenius didn't hit him.
No.
Wallin couldn't hit him. And Jermaine Franklin did his very best not to hit him. So in this instance, we're going to see if all the progress and the rebuilding of Anthony Joshua and the pilot light going back on and all the motivation for his mojo to be back into... Either Ngannou got away with a performance that everyone looks at in terms of how bad Fury was, or Ngannou's got better and AJ's got a real challenge, and then we're going to learn a lot about AJ in this fight.
Yeah. It's actually 3 weeks, guys, until the all-British clash between Fraser Clarke and Fabio Wardley. Earlier, Spencer, we caught up with Fraser, who has his own opinion on AJ Ngannou, but we began first with his fight preparations for Wardley.
It's been difficult, Jim. Biggest fight of my life. So, I had to do things a bit differently, a lot harder. It's been grueling, to say, physically, mentally. But, 3 weeks left, just, a bit more hard work and then some fine-tuning. We're almost there now.
Listen, how genuine is this needle between the two of you?
It's definitely genuine, but it's not like hatred. The way that Fabio Wardley and David Adelaide was, I wouldn't say it's there, but it's definitely a competitive needle, which should be. It's good for sport. It's good between, especially in boxing. Sometimes it goes a bit over the top, but with me and Fabio, I'd say it's purely just competitive, and we want to see who's the best.
I mean, a lot of the focus of attention at the moment this week, especially regards the heavyweight scene, is on Saudi Arabia. But you quite rightly feel that, listen, watch us, because this is a massive fight for both Fabio Wardley and you.
Yeah, I think what's happened in Saudi Arabia is one thing, and what me and Fabio are doing is we're boxing. We're competing for the British and Commonwealth title in a real, genuine fight, 50-50, as it's being billed. What's going on in Saudi is a little bit different, let's say. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive Joshua fan, I'm a massive Ngannou fan, but if you ask me the fight that I'm looking forward to the most over in Saudi, it's definitely Parker and Zhang. So, I think me and Fabio, we're going to put a show on the 31st and everyone should tune in.
What does victory do for either one of you on that night, do you think, Fraser?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's just what sort of winner stays on, goes to the next level, and the loser has to have a really good look at himself and, has to come back the hard way. Myself and my team were very confident in getting the win, and after that we want to push on, to bigger and better things. And there's also, like I said, there's this professional needle and edge between us. We want to see who's the best in Britain, and that's where we're at between me and Fabio.
You mentioned victory could mean the next level. What does that next level look like?
The European stage, I'm sure we want to get on, and there's various other titles that I'd like to pick up. I know Fabio has a couple of other belts as well, which puts him in a good ranking with governing bodies. And eventually, the plan for everyone, well, myself definitely, is to try and move towards world titles. So, just getting them governing bodies rankings and put myself in a good position to move forward going on in the year.
Fraser, you rightly said a lot of people looking forward to Parker Zhang in Saudi Arabia this week. But regards AJ and Ngannou, how do you feel about an MMA fighter virtually taking over, it seems, your division?
Unfortunately, it's gone on. It's the way of the world now. Boxing's changed, sports changed. Saudi Arabia has changed a lot of things. And boxing's always been an entertainment business, but I'd say now more than ever. If you come from the MMA world into boxing and you've got half a name in the MMA world, then people are intrigued and people are interested in seeing, can these guys compete with boxers? And, it's not for everyone, but, I obviously the entertainment value with it. But at the same time, I know people that have been in the division for years, in the top 10 for years, and they've still not had their shot or their opportunities. So in that sense, it's a bit like, I don't think it's completely right, but I understand it because it makes mega money, and we know what everyone in boxing is after. So, that's how it goes.
Listen, mate, you got them going, didn't you, at Portman Road, home of Ipswich Town? You wore a Norwich shirt for the face-off with Wardley. You certainly ignited the flames there.
Yeah, I had to go and support my beloved Norwich. First time I ever had a Norwich shirt on in my life, but it seems to get the people going. And at the end of the day, Jim, we're trying to promote a fight, and these kind of antics have been going on, for years and years through boxing. So it was nothing new, but Fabio's made a few T-shirts about me and a few jokes here and there. So I thought it'd be good. It was light-hearted, to be honest. I'm not sure the Ipswich fans find it light-hearted, but there we go. It's built the fight a little bit more.
Give me some quick-fire predictions, Fraser. AJ and Ngannou, who wins it?
AJ.
Parker Zhang, who wins it?
Parker.
Clarke Wardley, who wins it?
Clarke absolutely destroys him.
Fraser Clarke, I like him.
I like
he's
him a lot.
Good lad. So is Wardley. And two nice lads.
Absolutely. Two nice lads that have just been on totally different journeys. You know, Fabio Wardley's come through that white-collar background and sort of learnt his trade on the job, if you like. He's developed as a professional, no amateur experience at all. And as we know about Fraser Clarke, you know, he'd been there, seen it, done it as an amateur, competed in every games, won medals in every games, Olympic bronze medalist, and now turned professional.
Yeah.
The difference between these two right now is Fabio Wardley has proved himself. He's gone on against the odds. He won the British title. I think the Nathan Gorman was the coming of age fight for Fabio, really. A lot of people felt he was going to lose that fight against Nathan Gorman. He won it in 3 rounds. Spectacular in doing it. David Adelaide last time out. Another one, Adelaide was a big favourite. Wardley again done a big job on him, but also showed that he can come through some rough times, pick down his gum shield, turn it around. We've not seen that from Fraser Clarke yet. It's all about Fraser now, showing us can he up the levels, because we've not seen that right yet.
Simon, as far as AJ Ngannou is concerned, there's a message, and it's echoed by many other boxing fans, Ben and Harlow. How do we boxing fans who aren't interested in anything to do with the MMA make our point heard? Do we just boycott this thing?
But don't watch it. I mean, the fact of the matter is this is a moment in time. You cannot argue with the sentiment that Frank Warren will deploy, which is the Saudis have opened the door to bigger fights, and these bigger fights are happening. There's roadblocks every now and again, which is the Ngannou fight, which offers no appeal to the purist. But the next one out is Fury versus Usyk, and then you might see Joshua versus Hrgovic, or Joshua versus the winner of Fury Usyk. And these fights will be made. So there's a balance between a moment in time where you go, well, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And Fraser Clarke's argument would be, why is an MMA fighter being afforded an opportunity to sit in the ring with Anthony Joshua when Anthony Joshua could be fighting somebody else?
That's right.
In the food chain of boxing.
Yeah.
So there's points there, but the Saudis want what they want, and it's their money.